Hi everyone, I'm Christy Forsyth with Clarity by Christy. I am a soul therapist and an intuitive that connects with the angelic energy. This is your weekly reading where we talk about the collective energy, the energy that impacts each and every one of us, and how we can make the most of it. Because if we have a sense of what's going on with the energy, number one, it helps us to make sense of what's going on with us, but also it gives us the tools and the understanding for how we can utilize this energy to our benefit. So that's what this reading is all about. So we connect with the channeled messages to start, and then we're going to build upon those messages with a tarot card pull as we navigate further into this reading. So how are you guys feeling? How are you doing? Interesting energies. I felt the call to hop on and build upon the weekly messages as we got toward the end of the week last week, because I feel like this energy has a lot going on. There's a lot of layers to it. There's a lot of confusion that I'm finding that people are feeling. And I've been calling this a really expansive energy, which it is, but I also feel like it's difficult in some ways to see that, or we're watching some things expand and then we're noticing that it's feeling like other things are feeling really stuck, or there isn't movement with things. And so it can feel a bit confusing in terms of feeling like, am I on the right path? Are things really happening for me? And I truly feel like as long as we're honoring our intuition, as long as we're tuning in, we absolutely are on the right path. I think that it's just a little hard to get a sense of all of that right now. I've been saying in describing this energy, I really feel like the universe is shuffling the deck, so there's a lot of things that are changing, moving, shifting. We're changing out of an old paradigm, shifting into a new paradigm. And sometimes always there's a lot that comes with that. There's a clearing, there's a releasing, there's a shifting, and we're being called to allow things to be released, allow things to change, allow things to shift, and also to allow new into our experiences. Because some of this is things are actually progressing, and I'm finding that some people are in a place where it's like, oh, like that's actually happening, and I'm not sure I'm ready to navigate that right now, or I'm not sure I'm prepared for that. So all kinds of different ways that this energy is impacting us. But let me know in the comments how you're feeling and how it's influencing you. It's really interesting. I think that the most important thing that we need to be doing here in this energy is trusting in God and our higher power, whatever that is for you, to lead the way. And I think that when we're truly tuning into our intuition, we can feel that there's so much being orchestrated behind the scenes for us right now. And I think in some ways, some things are feeling stuck or stagnant, but it's kind of meant to redirect our focus. It's helping us to understand what we need to be focusing on here in this moment, or where we need to pivot, or where we need to shift, or where we need to revisit an idea. Because there's very much this energy this week of revisiting ideas, revisiting the plans. It's like going back to the beginning in some ways, taking a look at what was my vision to begin with? And is there something still in that original vision, whatever that is for you, whether it's of a relationship, of a business that you started, a career, anything, what was the original vision for that? What was the original vision for this dream that I have? And are there things within that vision that I'm meant to reconnect with right now, that I'm meant to revisit, that are meant to be renewed, sparked back up again, right? Like it's feeling like some things are being sparked up again that we haven't connected with in a long time. But the thing is, we truly have shifted into different timelines, better timelines, higher timelines for ourselves. And with that, it's going to require us to be different, because we are different. But the thing is that human beings are creatures of habit. And I think that if we are trying to show up to new beginnings, this new phase in our lives, this new energy, whatever these things are for us, using our old ways, that isn't going to serve us. I think that our old ways aren't going to support these new beginnings that we have going on. So there's this real call to operate from this new version of you, this more authentic version of you. We have been working for quite some time as a collective on becoming more authentic, connecting with it. And I really feel like this full moon that we have coming up on Thursday, on the 25th, is going to be highlighting that. Where have we stepped into embodying a little bit more of our authenticity, and where are there things in our life that still aren't supporting that, where we're still feeling like we're not being our most authentic selves? And there's a call to honor this authenticity, to continue to lean into that, to step into that. And that call is going to require us to move differently, to operate differently, to have different habits, to have different patterns. I was saying in my video that I did on Friday that I've been feeling this call. As much as I am a creature of habit, I'm a creature of routine. I really love a good routine. I felt called to shake up my routine, to add in, to mix in some new things. I usually will get that intuitive prompt, like it's time to shake it up, it's time to do that. And I'm definitely getting that now. And I think that that's something that as a collective, we're being called to do. And it doesn't just have to be our routines, but where are you being called to move differently, to show up differently? I do feel like there's it's interesting because it's a little bit of a retrograde energy, although we now, I believe, or we're very close to having 0 planets in retrograde, which is going to be really powerful, by the way, for February. But even though we're not in a retrograde, I'm still feeling a little bit of this energy of like going back to something in some way, or a chance to redo something, a chance to renew something, but to do it better this time around. So I think that we're going to find some opportunities showing up for us, but here's the key, is that if we're getting an opportunity to do something better, we need to be operating from this new, more authentic version of ourselves, this version of ourselves that we have worked so hard at uncovering. So you want to be very conscious of the moves that you're making, of the steps that you're taking, of the habits that you're engaging in, all of it, because you want to be operating as consciously as possible, as often as possible, from a place of this new and improved, more authentic version of yourself. That's going to be really key in this. So I think that it's almost like, I've been talking about this the past several readings, like doors are opening. And these are doors that feel temporary for me. It feels like these temporary openings, and not that we won't have these opportunities come back around, but I think that the best case scenario is to have these doors not only open for us, but to take advantage of these open doors, is to show up as the best version of ourselves as it stands right now. And to do that, we have to be consciously aware of the ways that our old ways, our old habits, our old thoughts, our old mindset, our old habits, anything, are influencing the way that we're behaving, thinking, moving, all of the things here now. So I hope that that makes sense. That's so important for us to make those adjustments. I was just filming with Brittany Renee for my Clarity by Christy membership, and we talked all about embodiment and authenticity. And I think that this is really what we're being called to do right now, is to embody this most authentic version of yourself, to embody who you have become. And that person is very different than who you were even a year ago, right? It's a more authentic version of yourself. It's closer to who you actually are if you have been allowing this. So let there be a willingness to shift. Let there be a willingness to show up differently. I think that we're ready. There's a sense of readiness. There are some things that I think are opening up that maybe in the past we weren't ready for. Even if we thought that we were ready for them, we weren't ready for them. And now they're circling back around, showing us that now is the time. There's a lot of divine timing things that are happening right now. I also feel like in terms of timing, in terms of steps that we need to be taking, in terms of how we should be moving or shifts we need to be making, one of the things that I'm noticing is that communication continues to be really key. So what I mean by that is speaking our truth, expressing what we need to communicate, but also paying attention to what's being communicated to us. There's like a deeper sense of connection in this energy, or a call to be more connected. And I think part of that connection is through communication. So I would just notice like what spiritual messages seem to be coming through simply through a conversation that you're having with a trusted friend, or it doesn't even have to be a trusted friend, right? Maybe it's a message that comes through that comes from someone that really annoys you, but the message still hits, like you know that there's a message. So pay attention. I think a lot of messages for us are being delivered through communication right now. And I think that we're doing that for a lot of people as well. So this is certainly a time to speak your truth, to say what you need to say with love. Of course, we never want to do that in a way that dishonors somebody else, but to be able to voice what we need to say. So I'm curious, have you guys been feeling this energy? We've had this around for a few weeks. Have you been sharing things? Have you been communicating things? Have you been having important conversations? Have you been hearing from people that you haven't expected to hear from, right? Because I think there's a little bit of that energy as well, where it's these openings for communication with doors that maybe we thought were closed, or conversations we never thought that we'd have, these kinds of things. And I think that we're building upon this energy. We have the full moon coming up on Thursday, and so we're already moving into that energy. I always feel like the energy kind of starts about 3 days before, closes out about 3 days after, and we're definitely moving closer to that. I think that this full moon, I always say the full moon shines a light on something, and I think that right now this full moon is shining a light on where we're being called to be more authentic, and where there are circumstances, people, things in our lives that are not supporting our authenticity, right? So maybe some of these conversations and this communication will be these conversations where somebody is not honoring your authenticity or challenging that in some way, and you're feeling the call to step in and express your truth no matter what it is that they believe or what their opinion is on that, right? We really want to make sure that we're honoring our intuitive truth, what's coming from within ourselves. That's really, really key. And letting that be led, of course, by our higher power, by our guides, by our angels, but honoring what we know to be true. I truly believe that each and every one of us has the tools within ourselves to connect with all of the answers that we need if we're choosing to honor it. And I think that there's a lot of energy around just taking that time to honor that and to live from that place around this full moon energy as well. Let me know how you guys are experiencing this energy. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I've had a few unsubscribes, and I truly feel like with some of that, it's like people think that they're not subscribed because of the way that YouTube is set up, and they hit that and they actually unsubscribe. So make sure that you're subscribed too if you are thinking that you're already subscribed. I've also heard where people have, a lot of other content creators on there have described their, where they've had people unsubscribe, or people have said to them that they were unsubscribed and they did not unsubscribe. So make sure that you check on that. Let's pull some cards. What's going on for you guys? By the way, yesterday, 7 solar flares. Okay, so lots happening in the energy. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of things moving forward. There's a lot of things progressing. And these solar flares really provide our bodies with an attunement for holding more light, for being connected to our authenticity, for being connected to our most purposeful life. It's really preparing the physical body to be able to carry more light within it as our planet ascends. So pretty big deal that not only were they 7 solar flares, but they were empath solar flares, which is a pretty high level solar flare. So how people experience that, you know, difficulty sleeping or feeling very tired. A lot of people had physical symptoms. One of my little boys, he's very affected by the solar flares, and I should have known that we had all those solar flares yesterday, but I was busy with him and he was sick, and he was getting these headaches, and he's like, I just feel weird, I feel kind of dizzy, and I was feeling that way too, thinking maybe I'm getting sick, and then I realized that there was 7 empath solar flares, and this really impacts that, and as those settled, so did both of our symptoms. I felt very heart fluttery yesterday. I get that. That's a common one for me. How did you guys feel? Did you guys have any solar flare symptoms with that? You might feel anxious. You might feel depressed. A lot of times when our body is processing a lot of energy, it can feel very, for me, I always feel like a elevated feeling of what some people would call anxiety. I know that is simply just the energy flowing through our bodies, but it's certainly something that I've had to learn over time. So I find it helpful when you're noticing things within the body, or you're noticing that you have different kinds of thoughts being sparked and things like that. Pay attention to what's going on with the energy. Watch a video like this. Learn about the astrology. Pay attention to things like the solar flares and the Schumann resonance and things like that. Because so many of you are empaths and sensitive to energy, and you're gonna notice the way that your body responds to that. And when you have an awareness of how your body responds to these things, then you can be empowered, because then you know, okay, every time that we have massive numbers of solar flares, my heart gets a little fluttery. Or every time that we have massive solar flares or the Schumann resonance is going all over the place, I get these strong waves of what some people would describe as anxiety. It's really just energy, but people would describe it as a feeling of anxiety. And this is how my body responds to that. So you get the point. It helps you to understand, and I find that it helps you from getting into your head about the way that these energies are impacting you, and allows you to have some peace. And I also think it's kind of cool once you understand that, like, oh, it's just energy, then you can kind of play around with that and just notice the way that your physical body is a beautiful intuitive tool, and it's constantly giving us information, constantly guiding us and leading us. So let's take a look at the cards. So the first card that we have here is the Temperance card. This is all about divine timing. So again, I feel like I need to acknowledge that. So if something isn't happening, know that there's a lot of divine timing that is connecting now. So you may see things starting to develop, starting to happen. Maybe some things you've been waiting on for a long time, because the Temperance is like things maybe we've even been waiting on for years, right? Things coming into balance and us being ready for these blessings to come into our lives. Now, Temperance is also a slow, steady, balanced energy. And so trusting this whole process as the universe is shuffling the deck and knowing that it's happening, it's developing, because I feel like part of like what's crazy making in this energy right now is like we can feel the things happening behind the scenes, but it's like only some of this is happening in my physical experience. What about the rest? Or what about why am I not seeing evidence of this in my physical experience? So continuing to just like flow with and work with this energy, I promise you this is bringing us where we need to be. It is going to require us to be faithful, to be trusting in this energy, and to let it stretch us. I really feel like even me, myself, with some of these experiences that I'm having, it's like I said in my video on Friday, I feel like I'm being stretched and being made uncomfortable in ways that I haven't been made uncomfortable in years. Like when I made some major leaps of faith. And this is because we're shifting into these new beginnings. We're shifting into a new phase. And it is going to require shifting. It is going to require letting ourselves be moved and stretched and guided and going with the flow of all of this, but knowing that we're also being taken care of, but also taking that time to find balance, because this energy, there is a lot. It's like feeling a little stagnant in some ways on the surface, but also having a lot happening, and then also having a lot happening energetically for us. So there's a call for balancing, particularly around this full moon, as there might be some intensity. But I also feel like a full moon in Leo, there's a level of fun and playfulness with that we can tap into that will be really helpful for us in navigating these energies. 8 of Pentacles, just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep building. Just keep going. Just keep working toward the things that you're trying to work toward. There's a little bit of this energy of like one thing after another, right? Keep working, keep doing it. I'm noticing for myself, it's like I'm laying the foundation for so many things all at once, and it feels like it's a lot of work, but it also feels really important. Or you may be feeling frustrated. In my own experience, there's been some things that I've been really frustrated with, like, why isn't that progressing? But I'm getting that intuitive message to just keep going, to just keep working on it, to not get too focused on that ego that wants to say, oh, like, why isn't this happening this way and in this timing and all of that. Just keep going, just keep trusting, just keep building, keep becoming the master of your own experience and the master of whatever it is that you're working on, right? This is about skill building and development and becoming the authority on something. So maybe you've been feeling that call to do that. The 2 of Wands, be willing to be moved where you're being moved, right? The 2 of Wands in its shadow can be this call for us to stay put, to stay stuck, to keep doing things the same way that we have been doing them, to stay in our comfort zone. And there has been this ongoing call for us for quite some time now to continue to move into uncharted territory, to continue to move in the direction of where the adventure of life is wanting to take us now. And I do feel like there's a little bit of this energy, like, we feel a little wounded, or we feel a lot wounded, right? We've been through a lot. And so it's human nature to want to protect ourselves, to want to stay in our comfort zone. But we're being asked to get out there and to experience life like we haven't been hurt before, like we haven't been disappointed before. And to lean into the adventure of all of it and all of the ways that we're being supported. 9 of Swords in reverse. I just keep feeling like when I pulled this, I just heard, don't worry. You don't need to worry. It's okay. Everything is working out for us. And all is well. And it truly feels like that. I feel like I get this like sense of just like giggling, your guides and your angels and my guides and angels like giggling behind the scenes. Like, if you only knew everything that we're working on, if you only knew the way that this is all going to unfold, you wouldn't question it even for a second. Trust it. Lean into it. Trust where those impulses are coming in for you. Where are you being led to take a step, to say a thing, to make a connection, to reach out, to try something new? Pay attention to all of that. It's all part of it. You're being led, you're being helped, you're being supported. Judgment in reverse, but we might feel confused about it all. When we're trying to make decisions for our lives, I think that the best case scenario, the best way to do that is to not make those decisions from our human, but to make them from our soul, because our soul is connected to our higher self, to our higher power, to our guides, and to our angels. And one of my favorite ways to do that is to simply invite God into it. Please, God, show me the way. Please, God, show me the path. Please, God, show me what I need to do in this situation. Please, God, show me the next step. And asking that, whatever that is for you, it might be the universe, it might be the divine, it might be whatever, but asking and inviting and allowing that, because I think that that is going to be creating and allowing for best case scenario. And you might find that through asking that, some things are going to fall apart. Some things are feeling confusing. Some things are going in a direction that are very different from what you expected, but that does not mean that they are wrong. In fact, it is leading you exactly where you need to be. So we might be taking our time to feel things out, to explore where we're going next, because this judgment card, this is a big decision. Right? It's the decision to be open to a new experience, or to be vulnerable, to open our hearts, to lean into something that we intuitively feel, but logically we're not quite sure just yet. So just continuing to flow with all of it, it's going to carry us exactly where we need to be. Flow is going to be your friend in this energy for sure. Page of Swords. But I do feel as though we're starting to see things clearly. I feel as though this is confirming how important it is to pay attention to conversations that you're overhearing, conversations that you're having, things that you're feeling called to say, things that people are saying to you. Have the important conversations. Say what you need to say. And also see the world through these new eyes of this more authentic version of yourself that you've stepped into. Again, old ways aren't going to support new beginnings, and pages are all about new. Being willing to step into this new beginning, and sometimes in the Page of Swords, it's hard to see. God, I think I need to clean off my camera too. Sorry, it's kind of fuzzy. Sometimes in the card image, the sword is meant to look really big for this page, right? It's meant to look kind of awkward. And I think that that's us right now, is like there is an awkwardness in this new energy. We're fumbling our way around. It's messy, but isn't life messy? Isn't the journey messy? And let it be messy. It doesn't have to be perfect. But leaning into it anyway and learning and figuring out, how do I manage or navigate this new that's come into my life, these new perspectives, this new understanding, these new habits, this new way, this new change, this new life, whatever that is. What do I do with this? And can we just let it be okay that we don't have all of the answers, that we don't know? There are so many things right now, guys, I'll be crystal clear with you, that I don't understand that are happening. But there's also, for myself, right? But there's also just this knowing of the support, and trying to step back and just sort of watch it and say, this is really exciting, because I know that I'm on the brink of something different, and I'm just choosing to trust it. I'm just choosing to lean into it, because we don't have to have all the answers, and we don't have to know exactly what this looks like or exactly where this is going. In fact, even if you think that you know, you're probably wrong. I can't tell you how many times I've learned that lesson after, thinking, oh, this is the path that it's going down, and then the universe hits me with a curveball. But the curveballs are meant to bring us to the real vision, to God's vision, and letting it all unfold. And it's all just really beautiful. I don't know, like, I just feel a beauty in this energy. And if we can choose it, if we can see it, if we can look at it, I think that we can all recognize that, and we can all tune into that and feel and see, and most importantly, know the expansion that is happening for us right now, because this energy is incredibly expansive. but some things have to be moved around in order to allow for it all to happen. So trust the process. And I am sending you guys all so much light as we're navigating all of this. I would love to hear what's happening for you guys if you guys made it all the way to the end. What things are manifesting? What things are happening? What things are developing? Because certainly there's a lot of that in all of this as well. And I'd love to hear that and celebrate with you and cheer for you. So please feel free to share that, or anything that you want to share. I always love to hear from you guys in comments. If you're watching this on my YouTube, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. It helps to support me so much. And I always do a little happy dance whenever I have new subscribers. It just really lights me up. So thank you so much. I will see you guys soon with a new video. Take care.